From the Detroit Free Press, it's Tuesday, February 23rd. Here are today's top stories. From the Detroit Free Press, in the heart of the Motor City, it's Monday, October 28th. Here are today's top stories, presented by Bush's Fresh Food Market. Bush's has over 4,000 Michigan products, including the freshest fruit and vegetables, meat, seafood, and baked goods. Stop by one of Bush's 16 locations for the personal service you expect from your neighborhood grocer.
I'm Dave Boucher with the Detroit Free Press. After 2 years as Speaker of the Michigan House, Lee Chatfield lasted less than 2 weeks in a new role following substantial pushback over his stance on LGBTQ protections during his time at the legislature. The former Republican lawmaker was hired earlier this month as CEO of Southwest Michigan First, an economic development organization based in Kalamazoo. But almost immediately, elected officials and business leaders balked, noting Chatfield opposed new legal protections that would have banned discrimination based on sexual identity and gender orientation when he was Speaker. On Monday, facing increasing backlash, Chatfield resigned from the organization. Quote, "I admit and I own that I sought to ensure a way that people of faith, religious institutions, and their nonprofits would not be sued for upholding their beliefs," Chatfield wrote in his letter of resignation. He continued, "Yet, I believe that civil rights belong to every single person because we're all created equally before God. And I believe that the fundamental purpose of government is to secure those rights." Carla Sones, interim CEO of Southwest Michigan First, said she was concerned from the get-go that hiring Chatfield would lead to pushback. She told the Free Press Monday, quote, "I think it's been really, really heartbreaking and devastating as team members, but I wouldn't say I was surprised to see the pushback that Chatfield received." She's encouraging the organization to take time for a transparent search for a new CEO, one that includes listening to the community and focusing on equity and inclusion.
I'm John Wisely of the Detroit Free Press. When you think of combative politics, a school board isn't necessarily the first thing that comes to mind. But in Michigan, the debate over in-person learning has made it that way. School boards across the state have been pulled into some nasty political fights over how and when to return students to classrooms amid the pandemic. Some parents are desperate for their children to return to classrooms. Others are terrified their kids could contract COVID. Many teachers fear getting sick as well. This decision falls to members of the local school board. Some in Michigan say they have faced threats of recall for the way they've handled the crisis. Others have even been derided or bullied on social media for their votes. So who wants to run for a school board these days? Typically, it's a member of the community looking to serve. The Michigan Association of School Boards says it's getting harder to recruit qualified candidates for the jobs. Most school board members who spoke to the Free Press said the past year has been the most difficult of their tenure. But to a person, they said they would still encourage others to consider running as a way to serve the community. Visit freep.com for more details on this story.
I'm Frank Witzel with the Detroit Free Press. Starting in March, the Michigan Department of State hopes to shorten the time it takes to renew your driver's licenses and state IDs. It may cost you a few dollars more, but if you hate long lines, it might be worth it. The upgrade, the department said, will expand the capability of the 135 automated self-service stations statewide. The machines are located at Department of State offices and Kroger and Meijer stores. Using these machines should also speed the time it takes to get your license because traditional services using the mail have slowed down. Also, for 1 week, services will be briefly disrupted for the change. Branch appointments, online, and self-service station transactions will be unavailable from March 11th to March 16th while the system is brought online. All of the machines accept credit and debit cards, and some accept cash. Expect to pay a $3.95 service fee and a 2.3% fee if paying by credit card or debit card.
I'm Kirkland Crawford with the Free Press Sports Department, digesting what we heard from a Detroit legend on Monday. Red Wings general manager Steve Yzerman was the guest for the Detroit Economic Club luncheon and spoke about all things Detroit hockey, most specifically, how he thinks his rebuild for the Winged Wheelers is going.
I don't really have a rate of progress that I expect. I watch, our team collectively, and I watch individuals, and you watch the veteran players, you watch the kids that are, like Philip Zadina or a Philip Aronic or even Dylan Larkin, who's only 24 years old. I'm watching them, see, like, are the older guys, do they still, whether they're in the last year of their contract, and I'm debating, do we want to re-sign them? Is it a young player? Is he better off playing in Detroit or at the start of the season going to Grand Rapids? So we're watching all different types of, all different things to decide on the rate of progress collectively as our team. The progress I see is from last year to this year, and it's still relatively early. The progress I see is a much harder team to play against. Where defensively we're playing much better collectively. The guys are, we're not winning a lot of these games, but I go back to the last game. We won a 2-1 game, a tight game where, as that game went on, we didn't make a lot of mistakes to hurt our chances of winning that game. And we just hung around and eventually tied it up and scored a good goal in the third period and did a real good job after that in winning the game. So we'll see how the Wings build on that progress as they host Nashville tonight at LCA.
For more stories from the Detroit Free Press, be sure to check out freep.com. That's FREEP.com. If you're a fan and want to support our quality local journalism, subscribe. Go to freep.com/special offer.